Everyday routines like lifting weights, walking, or doing resistance bands can absolutely help you keep strength as you get older. And hitting your protein target feels like the smart, disciplined thing to do. But here is a hard truth that almost nobody talks about, especially for people over 50 and 60. You can train consistently and eat protein all day long and still fail to build or maintain muscle if your diet is missing one critical factor. That factor is fiber. For years, the health and fitness space has drilled into people that protein is the number one nutrient for muscle growth. Protein shakes, protein bars, high protein yogurt, lean chicken, egg whites. The message sounds absolute. Eat more protein and you will build muscle. But that is an oversimplification that has misled a lot of older adults. The reality is that most high-protein foods are extremely low in fiber, and without enough fiber, the body of an older adult simply cannot extract and properly use the nutrients it is eating. In other words, you might be swallowing protein, but you are not truly absorbing it. This becomes especially important with age because digestion efficiency naturally declines. The gut lining becomes more sensitive, inflammation tends to build, stomach acid production can change, and nutrient absorption drops. So if you are over 50 and still eating like you did at 25, your body is not processing food in the same way anymore. You might think you are giving your muscles everything they need, but your body could be missing the ability to actually use what you are feeding it. Fiber is the missing link in that process. Fiber is not just about digestion in the superficial sense. It is directly connected to how well you can absorb and utilize protein, micronutrients, minerals, and energy. When your gut is fiber-starved, it becomes inflamed, sluggish, and less capable of pulling amino acids and minerals into circulation, where they can actually repair and build tissue. When your gut is supplied with the right kind of fiber, it becomes more efficient at moving nutrients where they need to go. So if you are doing all this work to get protein into your system but ignoring fiber, your muscles are still being underfed. That is the starting point that most people miss. Many older adults believe they are covered because they toss chia seeds into water or yogurt. Chia seeds are good. They do contain fiber. But a common mistake is assuming that 1 or 2 teaspoons of chia is enough to cover the body's daily fiber needs. The truth is that adults generally need around 20 to 38 grams of fiber per day, and a small spoonful of chia alone is nowhere close to that. So people think they are being smart, but they are still running a deficiency. If you are serious about preserving or rebuilding muscle as you get older, fiber has to come from multiple sources, and it has to be consistent throughout the day, not just sprinkled into one meal. There are 2 foods in particular that are especially powerful for older adults trying to build or maintain lean mass. These foods do more than provide fiber. They also supply minerals, vitamins, and supportive compounds that directly relate to strength, recovery, muscle contraction, and post-workout repair. The first of those foods is avocado. A typical medium avocado will give you roughly 10 grams of fiber, which is already more than double the fiber you would get from a single tablespoon of chia seeds. That alone makes avocado valuable, but the real advantage of avocado goes beyond fiber content. Avocado supports the environment in which your muscles recover. It delivers potassium at levels that actually beat bananas, approaching around 1,000 milligrams per fruit. It also provides vitamin K, folate, and healthy fats that help with inflammation control, hormone balance, and nutrient transport. This combination matters because aging muscle is not just hungry for protein. It is also vulnerable to chronic inflammation, micro tears, tightness, cramps, and stiffness. When digestion is working well and the gut is calm instead of irritated, your body can take the protein you are eating and make something useful out of it. You are no longer just eating for numbers, you are eating for bioavailability, meaning how much of what you eat actually reaches your tissue. Potassium in particular is crucial because of its role in muscle contraction and its relationship to nerve signaling. Low potassium levels can lead to cramps and weakness, which discourages physical activity and makes strength work less consistent. As you age, consistency is everything. If you are constantly interrupted by discomfort, you fall off routine. Potassium helps prevent that breakdown in routine by keeping muscles firing properly. Another point most people do not realize is that avocado gives you monounsaturated fats, which are extremely valuable for older adults. These fats help manage inflammation, assist with nutrient absorption, and support hormone activity that influences muscle protein synthesis. For someone over 60, muscle building is not only about lifting. It is about having a body that can recover from lifting and continue lifting without joint pain shutting everything down. That is where foods like avocado help in a way that protein shakes never will. Now, here's how to actually use avocado in a way that supports muscle health throughout the day. In the morning, mashing half an avocado on whole grain toast and adding an egg gives you fiber, high quality fats, micronutrients, and protein in one simple meal. At lunch, adding avocado slices to a salad with leafy greens, seeds, and a clean protein like grilled chicken or fish supports mineral intake, fiber intake, and fullness, so you do not crash in the afternoon. At dinner, blending avocado into a warm pasta sauce with lemon, garlic, and herbs gives you a creamy base without relying on heavy dairy, while also feeding your muscles potassium, fiber, and anti-inflammatory fat at the end of the day. But avocado alone is not enough. Relying on avocado as your only major source of fiber is still not going to unlock full muscle building potential, because while avocado helps with absorption and inflammation, it does not completely cover energy support for training, glycogen recovery, or micronutrient depth. That is where the second food comes in, and this next one is even more important. The second powerhouse food is sweet potato. A medium sweet potato can provide roughly 12 grams of fiber, which is already extremely efficient. That means one serving of sweet potato plus avocado already gets you close to what some people do not even hit in an entire day. But here is what makes sweet potato especially valuable for older adults who want to grow or preserve muscle. Sweet potatoes provide complex carbohydrates in a form that is kind to the digestive system and sustaining over time. Your muscles run on stored energy called glycogen. When you work out, even if the workout is light resistance training or bodyweight exercises or band work, those muscles draw from glycogen. After the workout, your body needs to restore that store. If glycogen is not replenished, you stay weak, you feel drained, you struggle to keep training, and you miss the consistent stimulus that builds and protects lean tissue. Sweet potatoes help solve this without relying on ultra-processed carbs or fast sugars. They refill glycogen in a stable way that does not spike and crash your energy. In addition to fiber and carbohydrate support, sweet potatoes also carry micronutrients that are valuable for aging muscle. They are rich in beta-carotene, which converts into vitamin A, and that matters for cellular repair and immune function. They also supply magnesium, which is required for muscle relaxation and recovery. Many people think only about tension and contraction in muscle, but controlled relaxation is just as important, especially in older adults who deal with cramping and tightness. Magnesium helps prevent those cramps, which means you can move more comfortably, more often. Sweet potatoes also deliver vitamin C, which supports collagen production, helping reinforce connective tissues and tendons that stabilize joints and protect the muscle itself. That reduces injury risk, which is one of the main reasons older adults fall out of physical activity. If you keep tendons strong, you keep moving. One of the biggest advantages of the sweet potato plus avocado combination is that together, they cover fiber, slow-burning carbohydrates, potassium, magnesium, vitamin C, anti-inflammatory fats, and the digestive support required to make use of protein you are already eating. In simple terms, avocado supports absorption and mineral balance, and sweet potato supports energy, glycogen, and recovery. This is a perfect partnership for someone who wants to keep muscle without wrecking their joints, digestion, or sleep. Now the question becomes, if these foods are so powerful, why are so many older adults still losing strength, losing muscle mass, and feeling weaker year after year, even when they are exercising and eating what they believe is healthy food? The problem is not only about what you eat, it is also about what you do around your eating. There are habits that quietly sabotage muscle maintenance in older adults. These habits interfere with sleep, digestion, circulation, hormonal balance, recovery, and nutrient delivery. You can eat avocado and sweet potato every day and still block your own progress if you hold on to these behaviors. The first destructive habit is chronic lack of sleep. People underestimate how deep the relationship is between sleep and muscle tissue. Muscle is not built when you are awake and working out. Muscle is built when you are asleep and recovering. During deep sleep, the body releases growth hormone, repairs tissue, restores structure, calms inflammation, and consolidates the work you did during the day. When you cut your sleep, you cut your growth. You also elevate cortisol, which is a stress hormone. Chronically elevated cortisol does the exact opposite of what you want. Instead of helping you build and preserve muscle, it accelerates muscle breakdown and makes it harder to restore lean mass. In older adults, the effect is even more aggressive because the hormonal environment is already less favorable than it was at 25 or 30. The recommendation for older adults is not light. You need 7 to 10 hours of quality sleep per night. Yes, 10 is not excessive if you are in recovery mode, dealing with chronic inflammation, or trying to rebuild after years of inactivity. When sleep is restricted to 5 or 6 hours, muscle protein synthesis drops. Recovery slows. The next day you feel stiff, inflamed, tired, and unmotivated. You stop training. Your posture collapses. Your appetite control gets worse. And eventually you tell yourself that getting weaker is just aging, when in reality, it is chronic under-recovery. The second destructive habit is smoking. Smoking starves muscle tissue of oxygen because nicotine constricts blood vessels and limits circulation. Your body can only repair what it can feed. If blood flow to the muscle is weak, nutrients from all those careful meals cannot actually get delivered to the tissue that needs them. Smoking also escalates whole body inflammation, and chronic inflammation accelerates muscle loss. It becomes harder to recover between training sessions, joints feel worse, tendons feel sore, and you start avoiding movement, which then worsens the decline. Smoking also strips the body of antioxidants like vitamin C, which you actually need to build and maintain collagen, tendons, and connective tissues that stabilize muscle. So smoking is not just a lung problem, it is a direct strength problem. The third destructive habit is drinking coffee or other caffeine-heavy beverages on an empty stomach first thing in the morning. This one surprises a lot of people because caffeine is such a normal ritual. But here's what actually happens when you take caffeine before you have given your body any nutrients. Caffeine spikes cortisol sharply. Cortisol is a survival hormone, and in the short term that might make you feel alert. Long-term, high cortisol is catabolic, meaning it causes the body to break down muscle tissue and convert it to usable energy. In other words, if the first thing you do in the morning is flood your system with caffeine and you have not eaten, your body is encouraged to burn your own muscle as fuel. Over time, this erodes strength. There is another layer. Caffeine on an empty stomach also increases stomach acid significantly. If you repeat that day after day, your gut lining takes damage and becomes irritated or inflamed. When your gut lining is irritated, your ability to absorb minerals, vitamins, and fiber goes down. So even if you later eat avocado, sweet potato, and clean protein, your absorption rate is already compromised from what you did at the start of the day. This means the timing of caffeine matters. For someone trying to protect muscle, especially over 50, caffeine should never be the first input. A better move is starting the day with hydration and something soothing to the digestive system. Options include warm water with a splash of lemon, ginger infusions, or diluted apple cider vinegar with the mother in warm water. Those choices help the digestive system wake up without spiking cortisol. Then, once you have eaten real food with fiber and minerals, caffeine becomes less destructive because the body is already fueled and buffered. The fourth destructive habit is frequent alcohol intake. Alcohol is not neutral. Even what people call moderate drinking can directly interfere with muscle maintenance because of how it affects hydration, sleep, hormones, and tissue repair. Alcohol dehydrates muscle tissue, and hydration status is a huge piece of performance and recovery. Alcohol also interferes with deep sleep, specifically the restorative stages where growth hormone is released. Remember, growth hormone release during deep sleep is one of the absolute keys to repair and lean mass maintenance. When alcohol disrupts that sleep stage, you are effectively robbing your body of its nightly repair window. In addition, alcohol taxes the liver, which is responsible for processing and distributing nutrients you eat. If the liver is busy clearing alcohol, it is not prioritizing recovery and rebuilding. Over time, this leads to slower strength gains, more soreness, more joint discomfort, and less visible muscle tone. The fifth destructive habit is eating large, heavy meals late at night, especially right before bed. When you eat a heavy dinner close to bedtime, your body is forced to spend the next few hours prioritizing digestion instead of repair. Body temperature rises, sleep depth drops, and you do not enter the hormone releasing recovery states that are essential for muscle restoration. In older adults, this becomes even more important because sleep is already more fragile. Late night eating also creates unstable blood sugar patterns, leading to more cortisol release, which again pushes your body toward muscle breakdown instead of maintenance. The solution is simple but strict. Large meals should happen at least 3 to 4 hours before sleep. If you get hungry later, you can choose something light and easy like a handful of nuts or a small piece of fruit, something that will not force your digestive system to stay in high gear all night. When we bring all of this together, a clear pattern appears. Building or preserving muscle after 50 is not just about protein, not just about lifting weights, and not just about taking supplements. It is about creating an internal environment where muscle can actually be maintained. That environment depends on fiber-rich, nutrient-dense foods like avocado and sweet potato. And it also depends on recovery habits that protect sleep, circulation, hormonal balance, and gut integrity. Fiber is not just for digestion. It is part of the delivery system that makes protein usable in the first place. Avocado supports mineral balance, inflammation control, and absorption. Sweet potato supports energy, glycogen recovery, and micronutrient intake. Adequate sleep allows those nutrients to be converted into actual tissue. Avoiding smoking preserves circulation so the nutrients can reach the muscle. Waiting to consume caffeine until after you have eaten prevents early cortisol spikes that cannibalize your lean mass. Limiting alcohol protects the sleep architecture you need to repair. Not eating heavy right before bed allows your body to direct resources into healing instead of non-stop digestion. This is the honest, unromantic version of muscle health after 50. It is not about a single magical food. It is not about hitting one macronutrient target. It is about creating a recovery-focused lifestyle where your body is constantly being given what it needs to maintain strength, posture, energy, and independence. The goal is simple. You want to be able to stand up from a chair without struggling? You want to carry groceries without pain? You want to climb stairs without fear of losing balance? You want to be able to get off the ground if you fall. Preserving muscle is not cosmetic. It is mobility, safety, dignity, self-sufficiency, and quality of life. The combination of fiber-rich whole foods and supportive daily habits is not just about looking better. It is about keeping control of your body for as long as possible.